Hello, so I want to start this video by talking about the cost of living crisis in the UK right now and talk about how the government can't do anything to help, that it's going to be ineffective and not really do anything. If anything, it's going to make the problem worse. So I was just looking at this Telegraph article and the so basically the main avenues I see them talking about is they either want to cut taxes, or Rishi is saying he wants to give a 10 billion package for extra support. Apparently Liz also wants to give money to struggling families. So basically these all and then the third one is the public. I feel like I watch a lot of YouTube and look at comments and articles like these and see what most people are saying, and most people seem to want to have some sort of price cap because they look at this and they see this incoming figure and they probably think, oh damn, how the hell am I going to pay for all of this? Even one of them as well. I mean, this is horrible to see, but so they either want the price cap to remain or go down probably, or the other alternative is tax cuts, or basically steamy money, just full on just government printing. And all of these will basically have the same problem. We're going to have too much money chasing too few goods. It's really as simple as that. If you're going to be cutting taxes, you're basically robbing Peter to pay Paul. So if they tax, it doesn't matter who they tax, they're going to be taxing someone for money. I mean, if it's the richest people, they're just going to leave. If it's really bad, there could be capital flight, but they might not. Let's say they don't leave anyway. If they don't leave, you're then just, as I say, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And then, so you got to think of it, those rich people, they could have their money in a bank or in some sort of trust fund or whatever, but their energy consumption is going to be, it'd probably be higher than yours or mine, because they'd have a bigger house and do more stuff, but it's not going to be that high. Where if you're doing this, you're going to then have more money chasing the same amount of goods, i.e. The natural gas, because that's what we use. So that's the problem there, is that everyone has a sort of set amount of consumption they're going to be doing for fuel, for energy, and then you're trying to then redirect money into more consumption. You're basically just trying to stimulate demand more by redirecting wealth or money or whatever you want to say. The other problem, I mean, this one's really simple. The whole help for struggling families. It sounds harsh to say no to that, but I mean, it is kind of reality that if you're going to do a £10 billion package or whatever Liz is going to do, you're just it's going to be government deficit spending. It's going to be devaluing the pound. It's more money chasing the same amount of goods. In this case, gas. So that's the problem. I think people don't understand money. They don't seem to understand that money is just a exchange rate mechanism between all other goods and services in all of the economy. So what it really is like a balancing act between the supply of money and the supply of goods. So if the supply of money increases, then there's going to be more money chasing that particular good, and then that's obviously going to increase the price of it. So that is mainly to do with the taxes and stimulus. But then other people then say, well, what about the price cap? Why don't we just have the price cap? Let's not let the price cap rise, and keep basically price control. It's trying to do price control on the goods, but then the problem you run into there is that you'll have shortages. So the reason why you would get shortages is because you're the price control. I mean, the price set is just going to be arbitrary. It's just going to be arbitrarily set by government. It doesn't reflect the true value of whatever the thing is, and so they won't know how to calculate that, and they'd obviously be intentionally doing it to have it lower than what the actual value is. So then you're going to have continued consumption of X thing, in this case natural gas, and that natural gas is going to keep getting consumed. But if the natural gas, say, they've priced it up 5p X amount of like volume cubic feet or whatever how they measure it by, and then it's priced at, say, 10p for X cubic feet, then you're just going to eventually have a supply shortage, because it's going to be imported through Norway. They're going to be selling it at an actual price of which it costs to produce, and then sell it for some sort of profit, and then we're going to be buying that. But if our suppliers are then limited to have some sort of price control on what they can actually sell it at, they're not going to be able to buy as much the next time, because they've set it at a lower price than what they're actually buying at. So then you're just going to get a supply shortage. So, and then that could end up leading to like rationing or something like that. So you can't really do the whole price control either. It'll always lead to shortages. It always has. So I think a really easy way of thinking about it is if you can imagine the government tomorrow change the price of like steak at the supermarket, like nice sirloin steak, to like £1 or something. You wouldn't be able to find steak pretty soon, and then what you'd probably get is like some second-hand market for steak, because of what happens is you get like scalpers. They're called scalpers, where government will set something too low of a price, so then people that realise it has a high price of what it's been set at will go out and just buy loads of it, and then there's no supply of it left, and then they'll sell it on a second-hand market for a high price. You saw that during the lockdown, actually. Governments put price controls, or they didn't allow stores to increase prices for certain goods, I think, of during it. So then you then saw supply shortages, or then they result in rationing, which we also saw, because it all goes, and then the shops weren't allowed to increase their prices, so then the shops force rationing onto us, because they'll if you don't have price control, if you have the price controls, supply's going to go. So then the only other alternative is to have some sort of rationing mechanism, because the price mechanism is rationing. By having things go up in price, that is the free market way of rationing a good. But people don't seem to realise that, and they want government to do the rationing, which is not what you want. I think a lot of people seem to think this is Russia as well, and not a monetary problem. But if you just look at where is it? Oh yeah, I mean, this is 2021. This is 2021 data, so obviously it's including Russia, but we import this much natural gas, but it's done in gigawatts hours. But it gives you an idea of how much we're importing by each country. Yeah, so we'll give you an idea how much we import by each country. And Russia, it is fourth. But I mean, Norway just makes up a huge amount of this. So I mean, just from this, I really don't think we're getting all these problems just because of Russian sanctions. I mean, it will contribute to it, but the main problem is the monetary inflation that we had. I mean, because at the moment, the supply of natural gas, it seems to be, here we go, there's production. Again, this only goes to 2021. Production's just steadily been going up. It doesn't, from this anyway, it doesn't look like there's some sort of shortages. So if there's not a shortage, at least from what I'm seeing, I'm not an expert in the energy sector. I'm more economics and monetary, but from the looks of this, it looks like there's not a shortage in production of natural gas, and so there's not a shortage in production of natural gas from the looks of it, at least from what I'm seeing. And then we get most of our natural gas through Norway. And then if we look at this, so yeah, we get like most of our energy goes into natural gas and oil. So this will be housing for heating your home and electricity, because most electricity in the UK is done by natural gas. So generation, so that's why electricity is going up as well, because to produce electricity, we're using basically just over 50% of natural gas and coal. So yeah, so we're basically getting most from Norway, not Russia. Production doesn't look like it's fallen, but what we did go through, we had lockdowns and we were told to stay in our home and not work and then get loads of money through furlough, which is just going to be government deficit spending, which is basically just increasing the supply of money in the system. And now all this money is just being flooded into the system. And now we're starting to feel the effects of all this monetary inflation. So also, the other reason why I'd say, because a lot of people like to say because it's because of Russia, is that I'd also say this. We've had CPI steadily increase, and this is government CPI, so it's always going to understate what the actual inflation rate is. But I mean, this is just a good sort of thing to show that it's been slowly ticking up anyway before the actual Russian invasion of Ukraine. So it's just been ticking up anyway. So I don't know how you could really say this is because of Russia, like it's all, and once the sanctions, I think people think, oh, once the sanctions go, everything will go back to normal, energy prices will come down. They're not going to come down. This is just classic monetary inflation. That's why everything's going up in price, because money or currency, government currency, is going to be used in every transaction. So when you have a broad amount of inflation in the system, it's most likely because of monetary inflation. And it's very obvious because of how much money printing governments have done for the lockdown. Because if they didn't do all that money printing during the lockdown, it wouldn't have worked. People wouldn't be able to eat. They would have run out of money. They would have been at home, and then after a month, for most people, they'd have no savings. So to kick the can down the road, and to avoid that, they then just printed loads of money instead, because they thought, yeah, that would work. So now we're all feeling the effects. So that is my take on it, and I hope we can all get through this and not pay out the arse for all this effects. But I mean, I would say the best way to hedge against this is just to buy some gold and silver. If you have any sort of savings, put something into it, because the inflation's just going to continue and it'll just get worse. So yeah, we'll need to protect ourselves, protect your currency, and put it into some sort of real money, real hard asset. And hope this has cleared stuff up.